All right, today we are jumping headfirst into a truly massive work of modern philosophy, Alain Badiou's Being an Event. And we're going to use it to tackle a question that, honestly, is one of the biggest questions there is.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Our world, our lives, they're all governed by rules, by structures, by what we already know. It can feel like everything is just a remix of something that's come before. So how, in a world that seems to have its own operating system, does something truly radical, something world-changing, ever actually break through?
Is a huge scientific discovery just the next logical piece of the puzzle? Is a brand new artistic movement just, I don't know, a mashup of old styles? Or what about falling in love? Is that just chemicals in your brain, or is it an experience that completely rewrites the rules of your world? That's the puzzle Badiou is trying to crack.
And Badiou's answer is, well, it's pretty out there. He doesn't go looking in history or sociology or psychology for the answer. Nope, he turns to pure mathematics. And yeah, you heard me right. Badiou's big idea is that to understand radical change, you first have to understand the basic structure of reality. And for him, that structure is math. This claim right here is just so bold. What Badiou is saying is that ontology, which is just the philosophical study of what it means to be, it's not some dusty, forgotten corner of philosophy. He argues it's been thriving for centuries, we've just been calling it mathematics all along. Specifically, set theory.
So stick with me here. Badiou uses the language of sets, just collections of things, to build his model of reality. He's not saying the world is literally made of numbers. He's saying that the logic of how things are gathered, counted, and related, well, that's the fundamental blueprint for being itself. This is ground zero for his whole project.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about breaking the rules, we first have to understand the rules of the game. And Badiou gives us two big concepts for this, the situation and the state.
Think of the situation as, well, basically any organized context. It could be a political system, a scientific field, a whole social order. It's the official list of what counts, what's in. Everything that is presented and officially recognized as being there is part of the situation. Now, this next part is super important, so pay close attention. Badiou says there's a huge difference between just belonging to the situation, like a single puzzle piece, and being included as a recognized group or a subset. So, for example, an individual worker just belongs to the factory situation. But unionized workers, that's a part of the situation. It's a specific group that has been named, categorized, and represented. This distinction is absolutely crucial.
So who, or what, decides what counts as a recognized part? That's the state. And listen, this doesn't just mean the government. The state is any power structure that labels and legitimizes the parts of a situation. It's kind of like the police of reality, deciding which groups are official and which ones aren't. It sets the terms.
And the state is powerful, for sure. It keeps everything neat and ordered. But here's the catch. Here's its big weakness. The state can only count what fits its own rules, what it can already see and understand. And that creates a blind spot, a space for something that is uncounted, unrepresented, basically a void right in the middle of everything.
And it's exactly from that void, from that blind spot, that something totally new can explode into being. Badiou calls this an event. An event isn't just some big thing that happens. It's a rupture, a tear in the fabric of reality that bursts out of a weak spot in the situation. From the point of view of the old rules, an event is something that should have been impossible. It's a paradox made real.
Let's make this concrete. Think about the French Revolution. Before 1789, the idea of the French people as a sovereign political power, that idea literally did not exist in the world of the monarchy. The revolution was an event that went back in time in a way and redefined what the word France even meant. You couldn't explain it with the old rules. It just shattered them.
But here's the most crucial part. An event is incredibly fragile. It's like a flicker, a ghost. It happens, but it has no official existence. It can just, poof, vanish back into the void it came from. Unless someone makes a conscious decision to see it, to name it, to declare that it happened, and to dedicate themselves to its consequences.
And that's where we come in. That's the human element. How does an event actually change anything? It happens through the creation of a totally new kind of person, a subject.
So here's the pathway. First, the event happens. Second, someone makes an intervention. They point at it and give it a name. But third, and this is the absolute core of it all, is fidelity. Fidelity means you don't just nod and say, oh, cool. It means you reorganize your entire life around that event. You tirelessly chase down every single consequence it has for the world, and through that hard work, a new truth starts to get carved into reality.
So for Badiou, you aren't born a subject, you become one by making that choice, by dedicating yourself to an event. A subject isn't just you or me with our personalities and feelings. It's what we become when we act as a militant for a new truth, a truth that the old world literally can't even see.
And you see, this totally flips our idea of truth on its head. Truth isn't some fact out there waiting to be discovered, like a lost wallet. Truth is something you build. It's the long, difficult process of being faithful to that initial, impossible event. And because it emerges from a void, from a place that belongs to no one, this new truth is generic. It speaks to and concerns everybody.
So this all might sound a little abstract. Where does this actually happen? Badiou points to 4 main arenas where these truth processes unfold.
In politics, the event is a revolution, and the subject is the militant fighting for that new world. In science, the event is a radical new paradigm, like relativity, and the subject is the scientist who explores its consequences. In art, the event is a brand new form, and the subject is the creator who pushes it forward. And in love, the event is that chance encounter, and the subjects are the lovers, who commit to building a new world based on 2, not just 1.
You see the pattern here, right? It's the same structure every time. Some random, impossible break happens, someone makes a decision to be faithful to it, and that powerful act of fidelity forges a subject who literally brings a new, universal truth into existence.
When you get down to it, what Badiou is offering is a philosophy of radical hope. He's arguing that the world is never a closed, finished system. At any moment, an event can shatter the status quo. And through our decisions, through our fidelity, we have the power to create new truths and to fundamentally transform reality itself. He gives us a real logic for revolution, for discovery, for creation, and for love. He shows us they aren't just chaotic accidents, but rigorous ways of building truth. And so he leaves us with a really challenging question. To be a subject in this world is to be faithful to something. So what event, past or present, commands your fidelity?